Greetings. Today we're talking about great fights of the 1880s. This is the second fight between George LeBlanc and the middleweight champion Jack Dempsey. This fight took place 3 years after their first fight, which was in 1886. This is in 1889. At this point, George LeBlanc is 33 years old, and Jack Dempsey is 27 years old with a record of 49-0, past Rocky Marciano's mark. And this is the rematch between the New Yorker, Nonpareil Jack Dempsey, and the Boston man, George LeBlanc. This is from the Independent Record, August 29th, 1889. The headline reads, "By a chance blow, Jack Dempsey knocked out by LeBlanc after he had his man whipped. A game fight in which the Marine proved that he can withstand very much punishment. 32 battling rounds in which each man proves his mettle, and the mill in detail is below." The fight between Jack Dempsey and LeBlanc the Marine in this city last night. In the California Athletic Club was one of the best pugilist contests ever witnessed in this city. The betting favorite all along had been in Dempsey's favor, and at the beginning of the round in which he was knocked out, odds of $100 to $50 in his favor were refused by his friends of LeBlanc. Over 4,000 people were present, and both men were in the best condition. The fight by rounds go as follows. Let's see here. First round. The men sparred cautiously for a moment when LeBlanc led with his right, but Dempsey avoided the blow by jumping back. LeBlanc again led and caught Dempsey lightly on the win. A clinch followed, and this was repeated as the round closed. Second round. Dempsey opened with a short blow on the Marine's chest. A clinch followed, during which LeBlanc caught Dempsey on the side. As soon as they broke away, Dempsey landed a good right-hander on the Marine's jaw. A short clinch followed, and the Marine slipped to the floor. The fight closed with some light infighting. Third round. Dempsey reached the Marine's neck and received a hard one in return. In half a minute, Dempsey's landed a hard one on LeBlanc's chin and caused the latter to stagger a little. Several lunges were made by each man, but no harm was done. Fourth round. Dempsey backed away from LeBlanc and got in 2 light blows on the latter's head. During the clinch which followed, Dempsey came near going to the floor. A moment before the round closed, Dempsey again landed on the Marine's chin, and the latter responded with a vigorous rush, forcing Dempsey against the ropes. Fifth round. The men clinched, and the Marine threw the Nonpareil to the floor amid a storm of mingled hisses and applause. Some sharp fighting at close range followed, in which neither had the advantage. The Marine struck Dempsey a smart blow on the forehead as the round closed. Sixth round. At the opening of this round, the Marine, amid a storm of hisses, lifted Dempsey on his hip and tried to throw him to the floor. LeBlanc followed this with several rushes and accomplished very little. Roughhouse tactics again by LeBlanc. Seventh round. LeBlanc made a vicious lunge and landed lightly on Dempsey's jaw. He followed this up quickly and caught Dempsey 2 or 3 more times in the same spot. Just before the round closed, Dempsey responded with 2 heavy left-handers on LeBlanc's chin. Eighth round. Dempsey hit with much force to the Marine's ear, which he repeated in the next minute, and a clinch followed. As the men broke away, LeBlanc struck Dempsey a stinging blow on the jaw, which staggered the latter. Loud cries of a foul were heard, but the claim was not allowed. Some spirited fighting at close quarters completed this round. That is Lablanc's return favor for the previous match in which Dempsey hit LeBlanc on the break, so this was his payback. Ninth round. LeBlanc opened with a rush and clinched with Jack Dempsey and threw him heavily to the ground. Another cry of foul was raised but not allowed. Dempsey next gave the Marine a sharp uppercut, but the latter caught Dempsey well on the neck a moment later. 10th round. LeBlanc again attempted to rush the fight, but in two of these efforts, Dempsey struck him staggering blows on the jaw, which caused him to be more careful. After the gong had rang for the close of the 10th round, LeBlanc struck Dempsey a hard blow on the face and then retired to his corner. Dempsey walked over to him and landed a hard one on the Marine's neck, which made him later groggy. This was all after the round ended. 11th and 12th rounds, nothing but sparring. 13th round, Dempsey landed heavily with his right on LeBlanc's jaw 3 times before the round closed. He caught LeBlanc again in the neck, but the latter responded with a good blow on Dempsey's chest. 14th round, Dempsey repeated his attack on the Marine's jaw, and the latter appeared to be lightly unsteady. Dempsey set in 2 right-handers on LeBlanc's jaw before the round was finished. The 15th round was sharp. Interchange of the blows, but not much damage was done. In the 16th, 17th, and 18th rounds, Dempsey got in some vicious blows on the opponent's jaw and neck, and in the 19th, put 4 more in the same place, the last of which sent LeBlanc heavily to the floor. Being the first down, uproarious applause followed. Dempsey continued his aggressive tactics in the 23rd round. The Marine was showing the effects of the punishment during the clinch. However, he pounded Dempsey hard in the ribs. In the 26th round, Dempsey forced his opponent into a corner and pounded him on the neck. LeBlanc staggered like a drunk man, which he may have been. Before the close of the round, however, he recovered astonishingly and caught Dempsey hard on the neck. Dempsey was by far the fresher man of the two. With a few exceptions, had he fought all his way up to the present time. He forced LeBlanc into the corner and pounded him unmercifully. The latter received staggering blows on the head and neck, but stood up under them well. The man gradually worked to the center of the ring. While Dempsey still continued to find LeBlanc's neck, the latter wheeled around suddenly and caught Dempsey a terrific blow on the jaw. The Nonpareil went down like a shot. He fell heavily. Several vicious blows by Dempsey were the only feature of the 27th round, and in the few following rounds the Marine did little except to stand up well under the fierce slugging he received on the neck. In the 30th round, however, he gave Dempsey a terrific right-hander on the chest, which seemed to stagger the latter for a moment, but he recovered and showered a dozen blows on the Marine's head. In the latter's effort to escape, he slipped to the floor. 31st round was exceedingly tame, but when the men came out for the 32nd round, Dempsey attempted to force batters. He was hit heavily on the face and blood spurted out upon the floor of the ring when he fell. Intense excitement ensued, and Dempsey struggled bravely to rise. But before he had reached his feet, weak and staggering, the time had expired, and the referee awarded the fight to LeBlanc. The sudden termination of the fight was a surprise to every man in the clubroom. A chance blow lost Dempsey the battle at this time, when it seemed that the Marine was in his power. That was certainly one of the greatest matches of all time for LeBlanc. It took a tremendous, tremendous beating. He was bleeding profusely, down repeatedly, fighting viciously, fighting, fouling constantly. Although Dempsey followed him many times, constantly again too. This was a very vicious fight, and certainly one of the greatest achievements of boxing pugilistic history to be able to come back from such a tremendous beating and claim victory. It was just an amazing. For some reason, the middleweight title was not on the line during this contest, and LeBlanc never became the middleweight champion, and he certainly never capitalized on this successful win as he kind of floundered his career in the next few years. But nonetheless, he still achieved one of the greatest pugilistic achievements of all time and handed Nonpareil Jack Dempsey his very first loss of his career, and it was a magnificent fight. This is some commentary from a few days after the fight. Jack Dempsey's Broken Heart, August 29th. The Nonpareil's heart is broken by his defeat Thursday night, which came within an ace of breaking his nose. He wept bitterly after he was taken to his dressing room, and though LeBlanc promised to give him another fight, Dempsey doesn't seem to have any confidence in him of doing so. The verdict of the sporting man here is that it was a game fight and was never seen as game of a fight that was ever seen on the coast, nor one with the most unexpected results that happened.